Panther people, what up? Bryce Young got his visor back on, and so do I. Let's give this team an A-plus makeover. It's Combine Week. Let's go. Going on, you're watching Panthers Post. I'm Phil. I'm not wearing a jacket. It is still very much winter. I know March just around the corner. It is Combine Week, and it feels like the NFL season is just here. It feels like it's here right now because you got dudes in spandex, some sleeveless, some long sleeves, some short shorts, got some soccer cleats, some track cleats. It feels like summer. It feels like summer is just here right now. And so I'm feeling the heat. I am fired up. The hopium is being smoked left, right, and center if you're a Carolina Panthers fan. And I feel good about this team. I'm sure you feel good about that team. Everyone feels good about their team, but very few teams, including the one that is hosting the NFL Combine, the Indianapolis Colts, are not in the same position as the Carolina Panthers. They have their quarterback one in Bryce Young. And so now let's build an A-plus team around. This is what I would do if I were Dan Morgan. Now, he's making the rounds in Indy. I'm going to probably go live in a couple seconds, but he's made the rounds in Indianapolis. So has Dave Canales. And they talked about what they're looking for this offseason, not just the position, but also the qualities, the properties they look for in that specific position group. And so I'm taking all that into consideration, and I'm going to be picking up guys in free agency. I'm going to be picking up guys in the draft. And this is what I think would give the Panthers an A-plus offseason, and heading into the season, maybe contend for the NFC South and maybe contend for a wild card spot. And maybe, who knows, once it's the playoffs, it's anybody's game. The first move I would take right now. So I just listened to Daniel Jeremiah right now. He said this NFL draft is filled with starters, not stars. Starters, not stars. Hey, do you like Panthers Post? I friggin' love Panthers Post. Love it. You know what I also love? Community. That's what this is all about. So that's why I started Panthers Post memberships, because you get a couple things that nobody else gets if you're not a member. For less than a cup of coffee, it's like $2.99 Canadian, $1.39 American, I believe. I think coffee's a little bit more expensive than that. You get early access to videos. You get exclusive videos. You get exclusive live chats as well. Again, I'm in the works right now to talk with an ex-NFL scout. That's going to be part of it. That's going to be part of the live chat. That's going to be part of some exclusive videos. That's going to be part of some early access videos. Do it. Go on your desktop. Go on Panthers Post. You got to subscribe here. You got to join there. Click that. Then you're in the club. We have a star at quarterback. That's Bryce Young. And he needs a star to throw to. He needs somebody. And that somebody is not on the roster right now. I think Xavier Legette, 100%, can only get better from what he saw towards the latter half of the season. We heard from Dan Morgan. He said that Xavier Legette did not have wrist surgery. That was the thing that in the season we thought that maybe that could have been bothering him, but it actually got foot surgery. I'd rather wrist surgery, but he seems to be in good spirits. He doesn't know, though, if he's going to be back for OTAs. So with that, he's on the mend. Jonathan Brooks is not going to be here most likely for the 2025 season. Adam Thielen is in the back nine of his career. He's defying age, but he's doing a great job right now, but it's not going to be forever. Jalen Coker, the tape's out on him right now. Could he get a sophomore slump heading into next year as an undrafted free agent wide receiver? You can't rely on him. Not saying he's not good. I think he is definitely a building block for the future, but the tail of the tape is going to be out there. And defensive coordinators in the NFL will figure it out. They'll try to isolate, put pressure on him. They'll double team Xavier Legette. They'll have somebody on Adam Thielen. Then they're going to ask Coke, you beat us. So we need some dudes. We need a dude. We need an alpha. We need a star. And to get that, because you're not going to get in the draft, Tedero McMillan, I think he offers something different, with his size, speed, and I actually do think that he runs tenaciously after he catches the ball. But he doesn't strike me as alpha. That's just me. He doesn't. He just doesn't. Luther Burden, unless you trade down, I don't know. He seems to be losing steam right now for whatever reason. His production in the last college season with Missouri just not working out. Emeka Ibuka, he's someone, if you do trade down and you get somebody else instead, he's someone, if you trade down maybe in the late teens, he's someone I can see, but there's no star. We need stars. On our offensive, on our wide receiver room, we have no stars. Xavier could be a star, but just he's got to put it on the field. One guy has put it on the field already, and he's already put it out there that he appreciates the quarterback play in Carolina. That's Garrett Wilson. Now, we already did an episode on this. We talked to Vashti with Carolina Blitz, and she said nothing is by accident in the NFL. Everyone does everything on purpose. And he went out there for the first time since Christmas and talked about Bryce Young. He responded to our boy Blade's tweet, and he said, he nice. Absolutely. Who's his quarterback next year? Could Sam Darnold go back to the Big Apple? Could it be Kirk Cousins? It's not Aaron Rodgers. Who's it going to be? Shedeur Sanders, does he want to deal with another rookie? I don't know. I think if he already likes Bryce, I think you make it work. And I think it's worth sending the Jets the 8th overall pick. Even though wide receivers during the season, we're going for like 4th rounds, 5th rounders, max a 3rd rounder. To get this guy, you're not going to get someone like him in the draft. You're just not. And according to DJ and all the other scouts out there, this is a defensive line heavy draft. So if you miss out on Mason Graham, if he ends up going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you send the 8th overall pick and maybe a future 2nd or future 3rd to the Jets for Garrett Wilson's services, gives you a prime time alpha wide receiver, you don't fret. You don't sweat it. You have five 5th rounders. You package some of those, you can maybe move up a little bit, and you double dip in the draft. You can get some serious quality in the 2nd round. In terms of an edge rusher or a defensive tackle, you could do that. Whether it's Deion Walker out of Kentucky, Alfred Collins out of Texas, you can get those guys in the 2nd round. In terms of free agency, because free agency leads you to the draft. You draft depending on how you do in free agency. We've heard from Dan Morgan. We've heard from Dave Canales. They're going to do what they did on the defensive line as what they did with the offensive line last year, and that is double dip. And so with that, I could see the Panthers, in terms of free agency, going in this direction. And this is what I think. This is, again, this is pie in the sky. A plus. We're assuming there's like no competition in the NFL. This is what I think would make real ripple effect. Start right in the middle, right smack dab in the middle of the defensive line. Someone to partner up with Derek Brown, and that's BJ Hill, defensive tackle out of Cincinnati. I believe they just ranked dead last in terms of player rankings. Not that the Carolina Panthers are any better. Pretty sure they were 31st in terms of ownership. Not great. I think it was a D- or D+, not good. But at least it's warmer. And I think right now, previous annual salary was $10 million. You give that man a $5 million raise, maybe double it, do whatever you can do. Brad Tillis, again, there's an A+ offseason. Money's not an option, or it is, but you're smart. Do your, you do your stuff to make that work. So you got BJ Hill, defensive tackle, ball hawk. Pick him up on the defensive tackle side to pair against Derek Brown. And then on the edge, you pay the Super Bowl champ, Josh Sweat. You pay him money. He played hard. He's only 27.8 years old, making $10 million. Double it. Double it. Get his ass out there on the other side of Jadeveon Clowney, DK Wonham. If one of those guys ends up leaving in free agency or they get traded or whatever, at least you've got Josh Sweat there on one side. And whether it's Wonham, whether it's Clowney, and then maybe a rookie edge, I think you're setting yourself up in a good way. So you traded for Garrett Wilson. You're paying these free agents and Josh Sweat, BJ Hill. So that's double dipping on the defensive line in free agency. We'll see what they do in the draft. I'm going to fire out the mock draft simulator, and I'm just going to skip the 8th overall pick. So you got that. And you also heard Dan Morgan talking to people, especially with the Carolina Panthers actual media team. And mind you, everything is lying season right now. So we don't know if these actually are his priorities. But then the second priority is linebacker. So linebacker out there right now, free agent. You got Khalil Mack, Hassan Reddick, Matt Judon, Preston Smith, Levante David. This is according to Sport Track, some of the top free agents right now. And right now, as much as I like Zach Bond, I don't know if he's going to want to stick. He's getting paid $3.5 million. So it'll be easy to try to bring him into Carolina and try to double that salary immediately. Make him, So Khalil Mack's making $19.2 million. Zach Bond outplaying his contract. You can give that man $10 million. You can give him $10 million right now. You get Zach Bond in the building. You also got other guys like Kaiser White. He's a bit of an asshole, and that's what you want. Levante David, 35 years old, but plays like a beast. But I don't know he's going to want to go somewhere within the division. You could try to bring back Hassan Reddick, but I see, in my opinion, I think this has been a long love for Carolina Panthers fans to try to bring Zach Bond to the Panthers. And if you want to be a winner, you got to bring in winners. No one on this roster, from what I know, has won a Super Bowl. They've been to one. J.J. Jansen's been to the Super Bowl. Adieu, Shaq Thompson. But you bring in Zach Bond, you bring in Josh Sweat, you bring that championship mentality. And I think that would be the move on the defensive side. As for the safeties, that was the 4th priority. That was the 4th priority for Dan Morgan. And in terms of safeties, Justin Reed, we're the only team that gave his brother a shot when things were getting hairy a couple years ago. But one guy who I've seen routinely mocked, or at least for me personally, I'd love Javon Holland, 25-year-old free safety, making $2.1 million. Give that man $6 million. Give that man $6 million. And Dan Morgan talks about his priorities when it comes to the safety position. He talked about they need to be smart, they need to have that extreme elite communication skills. And when it comes to rookies, I know Malachi Starks is getting a lot of rave reviews right now at the University of Georgia. He's a dog, literally, like he's a Georgia Bulldog, and he's a great player. But when it comes to communication, it's those things that you just can't teach right away. The only thing they can teach that is experience. And I think if they're going to be getting a safety to be the quarterback of the back end of the defensive backfield, I think you need a veteran. And I think Javon Holland is that guy. I think you can pick him up, you double his salary, do whatever you got to do. Again, Brant Tillis is A+. I need you to have an A+ effort. And I think you get a guy with experience instead of drafting a rookie, and you can focus on other pieces in the draft. So again, Javon Holland in the back end. Zach Bond, linebacker. Josie Jewell, leader-ish, but I think Zach Bond could be the guy in the room. Just join the ongoing list. We had Shaq Thompson go. We lost TD. We lost Kuechly. We lost Sam Mills. We lost Dan Morgan. You lose Shaq. Josie Jewell's not that guy, in my opinion. I'm sorry. You bring in Zach Bond, I think he can be the next culture setter on this defense. And then you got Josh Sweat on the edge, and then you got Hill, and then you traded for Garrett Wilson. So that right there is your free agent list. That's what you got.